folks, and welcome to the Daily Coin. My name is Rory, and today is Wednesday, February the 3rd, 2016, and I have the great honor and pleasure of welcoming back the Doc from Silver Doctors and SD Bullion. And I want to give a special shout out to SD Bullion as one of the great sponsors of the Daily Coin. And if you guys are considering making any purchases of gold and silver, we would all appreciate if you would click one of the banners that's on the Daily Coin. Doc, how you doing today?
Doing great. It's great to be back with you, Rory.
Well, I'm glad that you're back, and it seems like that we're having a little bounce, or we were trying to have a bounce earlier today, and looks like it's taken hold. The criminal bankers came in and tried to knock it down, and looks like they were unsuccessful. So it's a green day so far, but the day's still early.
It is. I mean, over the past 5 to 10 years, we're just sitting here looking at the charts, just waiting for the smackdown after the short squeeze we had today. It's been really impressive. It's been a while since we've had this type of a move. Gold's moving through its 200-day moving average and looks like it wants to head towards about 1190 here. It would be nice. So, yeah, it's a good day.
That would
for
be
sure.
positive.
It doesn't hurt that here in Michigan the weather's sunny and almost 60 today. So it's a great day.
Yes, it is. Well, it's sunny and close to 60 here in sunny Nash Vegas today. So life is good. No snow. I'm loving life. But what I wanted to ask you about, Doc, is the authorized purchasers. And I know you speak with these guys on a pretty regular basis, and I wanted to find out what they're telling you, what you can share with us, obviously, and as far as what they're hearing from the mint, as far as Eagles, gold and silver Eagles. I know we're still on ration sales, and is there any word about how that's going to play out over the next few weeks?
Sure, Rory. Yeah, the U.S. Mint still is allocating coins. Demand's been exceptionally strong for the beginning of the year here. Mint sold another 1.02 million silver Eagles on the first day of February, bringing the total for 2016 up just shy of 7 million already. And as you mentioned, we talked to all the authorized purchasers who buy direct from the mint. The guys at A-Mark, the largest metals dealer in the world, they're speculating that they believe Eagles will probably be allocated for the foreseeable future. I think they are predicting likely the whole first quarter. And something that just a bit of my own perspective and what I think is Q3 last year when we had such a massive shortage, I think it put a new appreciation for the value of physical inventory in your possession. And I'm not talking about for the small average stacker investor. I'm talking at a highest level, the biggest wholesalers in the country, people who have hundreds of millions of ounces typically sitting in their vaults, that they have a new appreciation. And I think they're going to buy every coin they can for the foreseeable future and stack up a larger inventory because they see the value of having physical coins when the market gets tight. So I think that's only going to add fuel to the fire of the demand here in the beginning of 2016 is going to have an increased demand on the wholesale side. I think they're going to try to stockpile inventories.
Well, and what you had reported a few months ago when we were experiencing all these shortages is that there was one dealer that had 20 warehouses, I believe, and they were all empty, or vaults, I should say, 20 vaults around the country, and they were all empty. So I would imagine that's going to take a minute just to get that back to stable, much less ahead. I mean,
that one I was referring to is probably only the top third or fourth largest.
Oh my goodness.
One in the country. The largest 1 and 2, I mean, they were down to selling 1 or 2 SKUs 8 weeks out versus typically thousands of SKUs.
And I know that you are a big fan, and you've made me a big fan of the 90% silver coin. A lot of people refer to it as junk silver. I don't see any silver as being junk. But what are you seeing and hearing as far as the ebbs and flow of that product, as far as its availability and the premiums?
Yeah, 90% is somewhat available now. It's holding, I would say, an elevated premium. The premium right now in the retail market is probably upper $3 range right now, which is higher than the Silver Eagles. So it's holding an elevated premium, but it is still somewhat available on the wholesale market. And most of the wholesalers and the retail dealers are getting 90% in here and there. I think that it's likely with this past week's move up here, you're going to start to see a bit more of it available, just due to the fact that as prices rise, people sell a little bit more when we're at lows. Physical investors don't sell anything, so that should, just a forward perspective, I would expect 90% prices to perhaps ease a little bit here, and availability to continue to increase. If we do see a sustained silver rally up towards $15 to $16, that should help the 90% market. So where it sits right now, it is somewhat available, elevated premiums, but it's not completely unavailable like we saw just a few months ago.
Okay. And what are you guys experiencing there at SD Bullion? I mean, I know that your business was really off the chart there for a great many weeks towards the end of the year in that third and fourth quarter last year. Are you seeing that still, that elevated level of business at this point?
I mean, demand is elevated, it's high, but it's not at the Q3 levels. I mean, we've talked to most of the other suppliers as well as competitors in the industry, and several of the largest retail bullion dealers in the country. Q3 was their most profitable quarter in history as far as profit, as far as bullion sales, ounces moved. They'd never seen anything like it. And we're talking wholesale side, mint side, retail side. So it was, Q3 was pretty extraordinary for the market, and I think you'll see a lot of changes in the market due to what we saw in Q3, as we saw types of shortages that hadn't been seen since 2008.
Okay. And how did SD Bullion's January pan out in comparison for 2016? How did it compare to 2015? Is it up? Is it down? Is it holding steady?
Yeah, our sales for year over year probably about double for January.
Wow.
So, in a little bit, obviously, you have to take into account we're a growing bullion dealership, so a lot of that is just company growth versus just strictly market growth doubling year over year. You'd probably want to look at a bullion dealer who's been around for 20 or 30 years and doesn't have quite the growth trajectory that SD Bullion has to have a more true number of market perspective of growth, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does, and I hadn't thought about that aspect before I asked the question, but that makes perfect sense. I mean, you guys are growing, and you're growing very rapidly. So,
yeah, just to give you a bit of perspective, about this time last year, SD Bullion had about 18,000 customers, and I think we're over 20,000 now. So, that skews things a little bit when you have almost 3 times as many customers 12 months later.
Yeah. Well, good for you. That's nice growth. Hopefully, that will continue for you. And what do you see, Doc, as far as how this first quarter pans out, and with this move that we've got going on right now? I mean, just today, I mean, is the market breaking as far as what's coming up over the next 2 or 3 months? I mean, do you see anything changing? Is demand gonna continue growing? What are your projections as far as this first quarter, the remainder of this first quarter?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it, really almost all of it has to do with the market, what the market does. I mean, if we see another 2000 and 2008 style crash, the gold and silver market's going to go nuts. And I mean, ultimately, taking a bit longer term perspective from my viewpoint, It's looking to me like we're in the process, the very early stages of beginning or resuming the secular bull market for gold and silver. Now, that being said, I think it's fairly likely that both gold and silver have a somewhat significant correction here shortly, before that really resumes in strength. We'll see with gold crossing its 200-day moving average, very bullish sign. Silver still has a little bit ways to go till it gets back up to its 200-day. But from a long-term perspective, I still think if you step back and look at the charts, I think we're much closer to the bottom than any sort of top. And both gold and silver, their technical pictures are extraordinarily strong right now. And we're not even talking about gold and silver in other currencies. Gold and silver have already had a great 12 to 18 months in a lot of the other commodity currencies, the Australian dollar, Canadian dollar, what have you. So I think the outlook is good. And as far as physical demand, we've been at the end of a 5-year and nasty decline. Sentiment has been atrocious. Sentiment is probably at 20-year lows. And yet physical demand is at record levels. Physical investment demand is at record levels. So we definitely have the potential to have investment demand just be something that a lot of people can't comprehend if a little bit of excitement returns to the market. And the average guy who really doesn't have a good understanding about gold or silver starts to get involved when some excitement returns to the market with prices moving to the upside.
Yeah, that would certainly be a game changer, I would think. And I want to ask you about mine supplies. As you're well aware, the mines are either slowing down or shutting down, have been for some time. And how do you see 2016 shaping up as far as the supplies that are going to be able to come online from the mines? Because that's where it's coming from. If there's not any supply coming in from the mines, there's not any supply, period.
Right. Endeavor Silver just this past week released a press release. They're going to cut their production by 25% in 2016. They're going to shut down one of their main mines for just maintenance mode until we see higher prices. But ultimately, the primary silver miners aren't really the mainstream of physical silver. It's mostly from the copper mines and the other types of mines that it's just a byproduct. So again, if the price of copper continues to crash with general economy going down the tanks, silver production is going to decline, even if silver doubles to 30 if the price of copper doesn't recover.
Exactly, and I don't see that happening. I don't see those markets coming back, not in the next few months anyway. And what does it mean to supplies globally or U.S. centric, Doc, when China removed almost 100% of the global mining production in 2015? And now they're going dark as far as their reporting from the Shanghai Gold Exchange. We're not going to know what they're doing. And now the vast majority of gold on a global scale is going to be, the movement is going to be completely in the dark.
And silver is even more extreme because gold has a little bit more above ground supply because, from the last 5,000 years of history being accumulated. Silver, for the most part, consumed as it's been mined. So, silver has always been, in my opinion, the one that's going to cause the fireworks first, and I don't think anything's changed in the long-term outlook.
Okay, so you don't really see what China's doing with gold. You don't really see that it's having too much of an effect.
It's not that it won't have too much of an effect. I'm just saying that I think the silver situation will become, let's say, acute prior to gold, in my opinion. We'll see.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. It does make sense because with the mine shutting down and there's not going to be any backfill. That's what concerns me more than anything is where's that supply going to come from? It's if there's not any mines.
Right. I mean, the Silver Eagles right now, the U.S. is having to import silver just
Exactly.
for one government coin. We're not even talking about all the private mint coins, 100-ounce bars, 10-ounce bars, which is, if you extrapolate the numbers we see at SD Bullion, the rest of the silver investment market's probably 2 to 3 fold everything combined together than just the one Silver Eagle coin. So,
Jeez. And the same thing's going on in Canada. I would imagine that they're importing silver as well because they're in the same boat. I mean, they've been on ration sales for just as long as the American Eagles, right?
yeah, Canadian Mint's rationing coins, and they're setting sales records as well. I don't think their production is ramped up to the quite the level yet as the U.S. Mint, but their numbers lag a bit, so I don't think we have the numbers quite yet of the number of coins they put out in 2015. It's going to be a new record, though.
And we're on pace for a new record for this year for American Eagles already, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. It's definitely early in the year, but like I said, I would be surprised if we don't set another new record. If nothing else, due to the fact that I think the first at least 3 or 4 months of the year, APs and wholesalers are going to be, even if their retail demand slackens a bit, I think they're going to stockpile coins just so in the event that a Q3 type of demand happens again, that they have coins to sell.
And you and I both are assuming that they're going to be available throughout the year.
Right, exactly. Assuming the mint keeps production. I just personally think it was eye-opening to the APs and the wholesalers that, I mean, during normal times, they might be selling Eagles at a 10 to 15 cent spread. Well, suddenly due to the shortage, they're selling a Silver Eagle that they bought from the mint for $2. They're selling it on the wholesale market for $5. So, I mean, their premium's up thousands of percent. So they can do the math and calculate their interest carry cost of carrying an extra 50 million coins or 100 million coins on the books. I mean, that's total silver. Obviously, they're not going to carry that many Silver Eagles, but say
Right.
they carried an extra 5 million Silver Eagles, yeah, it's going to cost them a penny or two a week. But if you saw another Q3 style shortage, that interest is going to be paid off in the higher premiums they can charge in the market.
And
So
one of my
the good thing for silver investors is that all of the APs doing that is going to make the Q3 style of shortage less likely the next time demand spikes, because everybody has recognized the value of having metal. So more metal is going to be available the next time you have that level of demand spike, if that makes sense.
It does, and
It's just how the markets work to alleviate that. If you have free market forces, the free market solves the problem in the long term.
and on the premiums, and you were talking about them going to a $5 premium over their $2 purchase price, and isn't that really the market determining the price and outside of the COMEX or outside of the spot price?
Yeah, that's just true market demand. I mean, the two largest AP wholesalers of Silver Eagles during Q3. I mean, I won't name them because I don't want to get in trouble, but
Right.
they were offering Silver Eagles to us $5 over spot, like 8 weeks out. So that means that they'd sold forward so many coins already that, I mean, just pure market forces. I mean, that was their asking price, and they were getting that for them. So,
Wow.
yeah. I mean, everybody was willing to pay that. And I mean, there was a time actually where the wholesale market was selling coins higher than the retail market. So if you're a retailer, you'd be better buying from another retailer than you would be buying from the direct mint source.
And once again,
That's
assuming that you can get them.
that's something we hadn't seen before. That was quite interesting.
That is interesting, and that's very different. And I suspect that we're going to see more of that in the not too distant future. I mean, I just don't see things panning out very well for new supplies coming online. I mean, maybe I'm being too pessimistic about it, but I mean, I don't see when you have, somebody like Endeavor just announcing we're shutting down 25% of our operation, as we've already established. Mines are either closing or shutting down globally. The largest silver producing countries, not just mines, but countries, according to SRS Rocco, are their supplies are declining. I mean, by a significant amount. I mean, I think the only country, silver producing country, that was in the positive for last year was Peru. I mean, I can't remember because I don't have it right in front of me, but I think that that's right. I mean, so I just don't see how we're going to be able to get any backfill for SD Bullion and the other dealers out there. I mean, I just don't see it. Or am I
It'll certainly be a couple of years of much higher prices before you see any sort of new projects or ramping back up projects on the mining side?
Well, I'd say if you don't have it, you better get it while you can. So, and I've been saying that for some time now. But we've been speaking with the doc over at SD Bullion, and you can find all the coins that are available currently at sdbullion.com. And you can find all of his all the articles and news regarding the precious metals and the economy in general at silverdoctors.com. Doc, I certainly appreciate all your time this morning.
All right, my pleasure, Rory. It's always great to be back with you.
Well, we'll do this again in the not too distant future because I really want to stay on top of what's going on out there. So if you don't mind, we'll just do a quick update, in another 5 or 6 weeks and see where we're at.
Sounds good to me, Rory.
All right, buddy. Have a good afternoon.
All right, you too.
Bye-bye. All right. Well, thank you very much. I hope that